be for you. As Dana was saying, she was saying good morning and she knows it's afternoon for me. That is no problem whatsoever. And I know we were talking inside the circle earlier on this week whenever we were announcing this call. And I made sure to say that there was definitely no karaoke. There was no singing from me. Could you imagine me, what I would do to that wonderful song if I had a microphone and there was some sort of background track playing and I was supposed to be singing it? If you ever would like to see a song completely butchered and ruined for forever, that's what I'd ask me to do. That is definitely what I would ask me to do. But guys, it is a pleasure to be here on our usual Thursday afternoon slot with so many of, as I said, you wonderful people, as well as anybody catching us on the replay where this time doesn't suit. And I mentioned this idea around X, right? And I wasn't talking about the platform formerly known as Twitter, right? I certainly was not talking about the X factor, although there is an X factor to your business. And it's a very, very important thing for us to dig into and at least start off that conversation as of right now and start putting ourselves towards a bit of a challenge, which is what I was talking about. Because over the last number of months, first of all, I believe that everybody has now a much clearer indication of where they are. And would you agree with me on that? Like, just give me a yes inside the chat box if you've got a much clearer indication of where you are, right? And if we know where we are, then surely in order to map out the journey here, we need then to know where you want to go, right? And whenever we're talking about where you want to go, how many times have you been told before about, this idea around picking some, I would now call an arbitrary figure, right? And I want us to get away from these arbitrary figures, okay? I want us to get into real figures, okay? Because I do feel that the vast majority of us out there, we're not looking for some sort of billionaire style of life, right? There is much more an indication now that I certainly feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but there's an indication of what that lifestyle looks like. And I feel we've got to get closer to the understanding of what that looks like. Okay. We've got to get a much clearer understanding of what that looks like. So whenever you're challenged around, well, what should this business be doing for you on a monthly basis, that we don't come back with numbers that are arbitrary, right? Like 5,000, 10,000, right? Let's be done with those numbers, right? Let's be so far done with those numbers like we're so far done with 3PL, right? Let's be done with those numbers because they're not getting us anywhere, right? And I can see some people talking about, they're saying yes inside the comments here, unfortunately. But actually, it's good. It's fortunate that you do know where you are, regardless of that fact. Because 3 months ago, you didn't know where you were, right? So the blinkers were on. You didn't want to look. Now we're looking and we're starting to turn corners, right? We're starting to turn corners. So if you could think of a bit like the Nike swoosh, right? Or a couple of other emblems that look like that, right? This sort of swoosh around, and sometimes there's an arrow up there, right? So this swoosh right round, we've got to start to work out where that arrow is, right? We've got to start to work out where that arrow is because it cannot be, or at least it should not be everlasting, right? Or this thing that people say as whenever they're challenged about what is it you want from this business, and their answer is as much as possible, right? You can't say that. right? Because that is not, it's not definable. And if it's not definable, then it's not measurable and you can't aim for it, right? So, and as some people have been saying, we've got some areas of the business which are not so good, right? Some areas. And you'll see something I'm going to be talking about tomorrow as well. And I think that's also an important part. But it's this idea of, if we know where we are, then surely the next point in time is, where is it that we want to be? Okay. And this is going to be part of this challenge, right? So, for example, if there are certain things inside our lifestyle that we would like to achieve, right? I'm just going to use a car per se, because it's a very easy example, right? Now, let's say, for example, there is a car that you have in mind that you would like to be driving in this lifestyle that you would like to be part of, okay? Well, we need to know what those numbers are in relation to that car, okay? What is that car going to cost on a monthly basis? What fuel does it take? How far are you going to be driving in this car, which will work out how much fuel that you're going to need, right? What's the insurance like on this car? What are the taxes like on this car? Okay. And this starts to paint a picture of exacts. So whenever somebody comes to me and says, well, my goal is $8,357 a month, I'm all ears, right? I can work with that person because I know that they've done some work on where they want to be. Whenever the person comes and says, I want 5,000 a month, I'm less inclined because I know that zero work has been put into that. It's an arbitrary figure. Or if they say 10,000 or as much as possible, it's an arbitrary figure, right? Which means that there's no thought process that's come into it. If they say 5,000, when they reach that, they will want 6,000. They will want 10,000. So therefore, that wasn't the goal, okay? So whenever we have a continuously moving set of goalposts, how can you ever achieve it? Okay, so this is where I want to get into this X challenge, right? What is it, to what factor, that we've got to X your individual businesses from this standpoint to get to, let's call it the dream lifestyle or the goal lifestyle that you're looking for, right? Does that sound like a plan, guys, right? Does that sound like something that you would like to be part of, right? It will require work. It will require showing up. It will require getting out a good old-fashioned spreadsheet and plotting out the different bits and pieces that we're going to require, right? It will require you going and having to do a little bit of thinking time as to what does that look like, and going and working out the different elements of what makes up this goal lifestyle, right? So I know we always have a little bit of a lag, but I can see a few people saying it does. That does sound like a challenge that we'd like to take on. Or yes, as Gatry says there, okay? Because when we have this base point and we know that we'll put in a little bit of work to go here, then it just becomes a matter of saying, right, well, what is the X, right? And then when we work out what the X is, we can then work out how to get there, right? And we get there together. The only other element is time, okay? Because if we work it out and we say that you will need an 8X inside your business in order to get there, then are you going to get that next month? Well, that's going to look rather expensive to get there next month. Maybe it's 12 months, right? Maybe it's 18 months. Maybe it's 36 months, okay? But what we then have, we can actually see something in black and white, and now we have a marker, right? Now we have a marker that we can put down and we can judge ourselves, and we can also judge our businesses against, right? So we can start to judge different things, okay? And one of the areas that we're going to be looking at is obviously where we are in terms of profit and loss. So the first thing what I want to do here is I want to just map out some of this as to what I'm talking about. So let me just share up my Chrome tab again, and I've got a little document over here. So I'm going to share this tab as well. Now I can still see the chat box, guys. So it looks like everybody can see the little doc here that I have up on screen. Just put a number 1 inside the chat box if you can see that for me. That would be ace. And I'm also going to share this link with you. So actually, let me share it now. And what you can do is you can view along as we're typing, and then at the end of the call, you can then take a copy, right? And then what we will then look at doing after this is take something sort of, so I would call it kind of offline a little bit, bring a lot of people together in different sort of workshops, work groups, and be able to focus on this because everybody is different, okay? Some people, I was talking about a car, maybe some people want to drive a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, right? Relatively expensive car, premium car. Other people might say, I'm not into cars. I just want a car. But what I'm into is like traveling, or what I'm into is rock climbing, or these different things. So a lot of people are very, very different, okay? So this is really looking at, first of all, where are we, right, in terms of our business, and where do we want to go, all right? And I kind of call this sort of like our goal lifestyle. Right? What is the goal lifestyle? Now, straight away, we've got to break this up. Break up the goal lifestyle, right? Because no arbitrary figures, all right? No arbitrary figures. Okay. So let me put that in. Move that down. I'm just going to copy this down so that it's my OCD will be playing terribly with me here. So we got no arbitrary figures, right? Because what that means is we've put in some work into this, right? Work has gone in. So this is where we want you really thinking about the above and collecting, right, data, which is really in the form of financial numbers, what it takes to achieve, right? So now we've got a real understanding of where it is that we want to go and what the cost price of that is going to be, right? Now, then what we can look at is, well, what will it take, right? What will it take this business to do in order to achieve the above, all right? Because the other thing that we have and we are all moving towards is our profit and loss, right? So there's certain things that we know about our business right now that are starting to become a hell of a lot clearer, right? And they're also becoming a lot more consistent, right? Take a think about your gross profit percentages, right? Doesn't matter whether you're doing 10 grand a month, 5 grand a month, 1,000 a month, doesn't matter. Think now about your gross profit percentages, right? These are becoming A, clearer, and B, more consistent, and I guess C, better as the time goes on, right? Because here's the thing, they're becoming clearer because you're being shown them, right? B, they're becoming consistent because you are adding consistency into your business of keeping items in stock, we're selling items through, we are making our gross profit, right? Because we're looking at these things. And C, they're increasing because you are removing older items, right? And you're replacing them with newer items, okay? Would you agree with me on that? It's clearer, it's more consistent, and it's gradually getting better, right? And what I want to show you inside the P&L is that definitely that C thing is a fact, right? I'm seeing it, right, in black and white. And okay, it's only over a few months, but I'm starting to see this in black and white. Right? And I want to be able to, inside your profit and loss reports, whenever you're part of Plus, that you're going to be able to see, because working on them today, right, working on the foundations, you're going to be able to get this and you're going to be able to see this over a period of time, right? You're going to be able to see this over a period of time that they are increasing month to month, quarter to quarter. Once we get that consistency in there, then it's something that we can depend on, right? If you've got consistently 25, 26% gross profit month after month after month, you can start to depend on it. You have not had that in the past, right? So if you have not had that in the past and you weren't looking at it and you weren't being shown it, how could you ever depend on it, right? That's not the case now, right? So one thing that what we want is we want clear GP figures, okay? And of course, I'm talking about percentages. We want consistent GP figures, right? And to a degree, right? I'll put to a degree because it can't go up, up, up. We want improving GP figures, okay? You know, up to a maximum of high 20s, let's say, right? Everybody can get into the high 20s of GP, all right? Now, here's the other side of things, the thing that starts to impact, right? Whenever we look at expenses, right? Now, you have had an exercise, right? And I would challenge every single person here. I would say that every single person is spending less on expenses today than what they were a year ago, right? Likely less than what they were 6 months ago. Did I say more than what they were? No, sorry. If I did say that, in your expenses, you are paying less than what you did a year ago. And probably also less than what you were 6 months ago. Heck, it might even be less than what you were 3 months ago, right? Now, why is that? It's, again, really, really simple. It's exactly the same as what I just said, right? And let me know, would you agree with that? Let me know. Expenses have been made clear to you, right? We have made those expenses clear, and we've shown you what they're doing to your bottom line, right? You have been consistently going after those expenses to reduce them, right? You declared war on them with us, right? You did that, right? We showed you the clarity. You brought the consistency, right? So therefore, we've got improving percentages of expenses against our revenue, okay? So it's exactly the same. It's been clear, it's been consistently moving, and therefore it's been consistently improving. Now, expenses, right, unlike COGS, have no relationship to revenue, okay? So in other words, you pay for your mobile phone bill, right? That has no relationship to your revenue, right? Your mobile phone bill is, let's say, $100 a month, regardless of whether you do 10 grand a month in revenue or $1,000 in revenue, okay? Give me a 2 inside the box if you understand that and you're on board with it, right? So what I just said, to reiterate, is your expenses have no relationship to your revenue, right? If you have a mobile phone bill of $100 a month, that's $100 regardless of what your revenue is, okay? Now, thank you very much. Now, here's the crux of the matter. The percentage of that expense or as expenses overall, right, goes down whenever you increase your revenue, right? Give me a 3 if you understand that, right? I'm asking for a lot of chat today, guys, because I do want us to get a really solid foundation on this. So you've got your $100 mobile phone bill, and you do $1,000 in revenue. That is 10%. When you go to a $10,000 in revenue, that $100 that will stay the same will be 1%. Okay? That's what we're looking for, right? Expenses now, we've got it to a level where it should not be growing. And the percentage should be going down, down, down. The value will stay the same, but the percentage will go down. Once we increase our revenue up to a level, the expenses will stay the same and more will fall to the bottom line, right? Which is where we are looking at to go to, right? So therefore, our expenses percentage, this is now what we want to go to war on, right? We want to go to war here now. It's not the value anymore, right? It's not the value anymore. And the only way that we can do this, we have one option: increase revenue. That's it, right? That's the only option that we have, okay? So whenever we look at this, revenue, this is going to be something that we talk about. What revenue is required, right? Gross profit. Well, we know what we're looking for, right? If we turn around and we say it's something around the 25% mark to kind of go in the middle, this will allow us the picture, okay? Now, if that's the case, right, if that's the case, then we know what our COGS have to be, right? Our COGS have got to be 75%, okay, of the revenue, leaving 25%. Now, the numbers we will put in whenever you've done your work on what it is we want to achieve, right? Expenses, right? Well, we know the value, right? So therefore, we can work out the percentage. All right, this is the expenses. And this is the external expenses, of course. Now, if we know this, okay, then what we can also have is we now know what we're operating on in terms of internal expenses. All right, this is your adverts and your storage. Okay, we want to be able to work on those things. Then we know what our net profit is going to be, right, in terms of a percentage. Now, when we also then know what this goal lifestyle number is, we can plug this goal lifestyle, right, into the net profit. Okay, we plug in the goal lifestyle in here, and then we work backwards. This will then tell us exactly, right, what we want in terms of revenue, right? Now we know where we are going. So if we know where we are and we know where we're going, then what we can do is we can then plot a course to get there, right? And we can look at different things and we can say, right, well, this is about this X challenge, right? What X does your business need, right, inside the next 12, 24, 36 months, all right? Now, why do I say 12, 24, 36 months? Simply because if you need a bigger X, then you might need to take a little bit longer time, right? If you're sitting at $1,000 a month and you need to get to $20,000 a month, that's a 20X, right? It's like, can we achieve that inside 12 months? We can, but we're going to need to be very aggressive. Could we achieve it easier, let's say, right, inside of 24 months? Yes. Could we achieve it easier again inside 36 months? Of course. All right. So again, this is a little bit like a pick your own adventure. There are variables here, right? And also some people are at different points, right? Some people are at 10 grand a month. Some people are at 20 grand a month. Some people are at 1 grand a month. Some people are at 2 grand a month, right? Some people are zero. They're just getting started, okay? So what we need to do for those people is build a base layer before we can X anything. Because if you X 0, it stays at 0, okay? So that is what I am proposing, guys, right? We sit down and we work through this methodically, right? In terms of your next products, right? How are we going to achieve this? What are we looking for in terms of our revenue? How do we build revenue, right? How do we grow a certain product that you've already got in stock and it's doing certain things, right? And that's not just going to come, although it is important, that if you are selling something in, say, America and you're not selling it in Canada, we are going to implore you to do so, okay? Because those are simple, right? That's a simple win. That's just leverage that you're not taking advantage of, right? That sort of behavior will not be tolerated, right? That behavior will not be tolerated, right? Where you don't go in and take the leverage of the easy bits, where you say to us, "No, I just want to improve my US sales." No. We're going to go and sell to the Canadians as well. They buy stuff. We're going to sell to the British people. We're going to sell to the Europeans. We're going to sell to all these different people, right? We've seen people inside the group who are selling in Japan, Mexico, and all these different things, getting first sales, right? This is all done through leverage, just leverage, right? But of course, that's not all, okay? It's like, how can we, right, take a product that is maybe underperforming in terms of unit session percentage, right? Not increasing the sessions, right? But if we need certain items to perform at a certain level from the plan, right? We do not want to have 100 also ran products, right? And by also ran, I mean, doing a bit here, there, and everywhere, right? You don't want to have 100 products doing $100 a month, right? That's just too damn expensive, right? To do that, right? You want to have products that are performing. But of course, we also don't want to have one product that's doing $10,000 a month, because that's unsustainable, right? That doesn't have a static foundation. And whenever I say 10,000, I mean if that was your goal lifestyle revenue number. Okay, so we want to plot out really about how many products is this going to take, right? What are they going to look like without putting any pressure on particular products, and looking at the markets, as well as taking the existing products that you have and saying, if this unit session percentage is weak, how can we improve that? We're not even talking about sessions there, right? If you've got a product that's at 5% and you bring it to 10%, you will double your sales. If you take it from 5% to 7.5%, you will increase your sales by 50%. Just by that one thing, not increasing sessions, right? The flip side of that, right, is that if you take a product that's doing 100 sessions and you maintain your unit session percentage at 5 and you increase your sessions to 200, you will double your sales, right? If you take that product from 100 sessions at 5% and you move it to 200 sessions at 10%, you will quadruple your sales. Okay? These are the things that we need to work on, right? Now, also, we're not going to be focused on a product that you have that's got a unit session percentage of 12% and it's got fantastic sessions, right? That would be trying to squeeze a lemon that's already been squeezed 1,400 times and expecting to get a full glass of lemonade out of it, right? That's unrealistic. What we need to do is we need to focus on the ones that are underperforming, right? But they're ones inside your catalog that are going to keep going, right? They're going to be reordered, right? And again, if that is an elements of your business that you've had inside a portfolio that you're clearing out of, we want to focus on clearing them out. We don't want to have this scenario where some people will say, well, I'm exiting that product unless what, right? We make a deliberate action as to what we're doing every single time. If we're exiting a product, that's what we focus on. We're focusing on taking bad stock and turning it into good money, right? Not focusing. How can you focus on two different strategies, right? I'm going to exit this product unless something happens and then I start moving up the price and all of a sudden this magic will happen where I then go and reorder it. No, right? I've heard people talking about that. We're not entertaining that. We're going to have deliberate actions, right? The same thing goes for a product, right, that's maybe underperforming in terms of sessions. Let's have a deliberate action to increase the sessions, right? That's focus. That's focus right there, while maintaining our USP. That's what we're talking about. So each individual item, we can then look at it and assess where it's going. We now have the tools, right? We now have Wavens, right? We are going to have new Opus, which is going to keep us really, really focused I hope you're going to attend on Monday, or at least catch the replay, right? Where we'll introduce new opus. We're going to have new P&L, right? Again, I'm going to show you a little bit around that on Monday. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to get something out to the group who have visited this stream, okay? And I'm actually going to put something in here. It's going to be interesting, right? Code to accept challenge. Right? Now, here's the thing. Don't give this to anybody who asks you, right? If somebody asks and says, what was the code to accept the challenge? Refer them back to the stream, right? Because here's the thing. You're doing them a disservice, right? If they have not watched the stream, that means that they're just joining in halfway through and they're not reading about it, right? So they're just going to come in and not do anything along with it, right? So here is the code. Whenever you're taken to a form that I'm going to send out, there's going to be a box in there that says put in a code, right? The code is going to be the X challenge 24, right? And then K for karaoke, okay? K for karaoke. That is the code, all right? So you're going to write that code down, okay? Keep it somewhere so that when you get the form, you're going to be able to put that code in. XC24K. Is that a deal, guys? Is that a deal? And what I'm going to do as my part of the deal is I'm going to be able to do some group sessions, some group DMs where we can take some templates of what you've got to go and work on. Yeah, karaoke, yeah. I don't know how else to say it, karaoke. And work with each individual one of you to build up where you are, right, and where we need to be, because each person is different. Like I said, some people want to drive fast cars, some people want to go on holiday, some people want to do this, that, and the other, some people want to go rock climbing. So it's all different, okay? So we got to work together. And also, people are at different start-off points. So we got a number of different variables as well as timelines, okay? So we got a number of different variables the whole way across the board. Has everybody written down that code or emailed it to yourself? Because I'm going to take it away. Put X inside the chat box if you've taken down the code. Oh, Joanne says, I mean, why karaoke? Well, we were joking about the name of this stream being like the X Factor. And I put in a post the other day and I said there was no way in God's green earth that I would be singing karaoke for anybody here, because I would just murder the song. So great. Everybody's got it. It's gone, right? So it's not inside this document, right? We're not going to hand it out to anybody. If somebody asks, we're going to say to them, to do you the best service, you should go and watch the stream, right? You should go and watch the stream. Don't tell them when the code comes up, which is like, minute 37, right? Don't tell them that. Make them watch the stream for the code, right? That you would be doing them a disservice if you don't, okay? So they can watch through, they can get the understanding of everything that we're going to be doing here. So I want you to today keep your eyes out on your email, in Circle, on your DMs for a form that will kick off this X challenge, okay? Now, one of the first things inside the X challenge, that is going to be you thinking about the goal lifestyle, right? So you can do some of that in the meantime, right? And the more that you can put a bit of focus onto that, and the more it can be measured, then the more the better, right? The better that's going to be, right? If you've got these things lined out to the very meals that you're going to eat, right, and the clothes you're going to wear, the better it's going to be, right? The more that we put into this, the more that we are going to get out of it, right? Because if we put in arbitrary figures or throwaway numbers on this side, compared to down to the dollar information as to why, have a think what's going to be put into action more. Something here that you clearly wouldn't care about, you're just throwing out a number, or something that you're saying, this is exactly what I want, right? This is exactly what I am working towards. This is the reason that I am here, right? This is the reason I show up to streams. This is the reason why I look into reports. This is the reason why I invest in products, right? This is the reason why I go into different countries. It's your why. WHY. It's your why, right? I'm sure that your why was not about having a private label brand of products on Amazon, right? Because you've already achieved that, right? I am sure that your why has some form of, whatever way you want to call it, either financial, I would regard it more as lifestyle, and goal, or goal, right? That doesn't end. Okay. I'm sure that's the reason. It's the why, right? So we together, mostly you, have got to work that out, right? I've been a big proponent of this in the past. I'm still a big proponent of it. I've done it for many years, thinking about these different things. And look, some people are more high maintenance than others, right? I am not exactly a high maintenance kind of guy, but that's okay. It's no problem to be high maintenance. It's no problem to think about certain things and material, being slightly materialistic. That is absolutely fine, right? As long as we have it planned, detailed, all the rest, right? Don't let somebody tell you that you can't be that. That is you. That is your why. Okay, and everybody's Y is different, and everybody's X is going to be different, and everybody's, their outcome, the numbers, right, and the timelines and everything else. Okay, so I'm super excited for people to really take this on and get to those areas where, first of all, one of our first milestones is going to be seeing what you guys are coming up with in terms of goal lifestyle numbers, right? And like I said, I do want these to be weird looking numbers, not 5,000. They should not end in a zero, right? Unless by chance the mathematics marries up to zero, right? They certainly should not end up in two zeros, right? As in 5100. That's odd, right? And they really shouldn't end up in three zeros, right? The less zeros, right, that are in your figure means the more work that you've put into it, right? Maybe somebody's got decimal points. I mean, that would be amazing, right? So like 0.53, that would be fantastic, right? They've got it down to the cent, right? Because this gives us base level. From that base level, every single thing is work outable, and we can actually look into the how we're going to do this, because we know where we are, we know where we're going, right? Tracy says she needs 10,001 cent to buy an Oasis concert ticket. I am not an Oasis fan. Right? I am not an Oasis fan, but my wife is, and so yes, we have been on Ticketmaster. We've done all those different things. We're going to Edinburgh to see Oasis. You can go, my wife. I'm not a fan. You can take my ticket. Anyhow, guys, enough about Oasis. Enough about Ticketmaster. We've got to think about the us, right? We've got to think about the us. So I'm super pumped to be able to go do this, work down through this. It's perfect timing, right? It's perfect timing that if we take a number of weeks and maybe a number of months to put all these different things together, so that we really have a plan, because, weirdly, 2025 is coming around the corner, sharp, hot. I mentioned the other day about where did August go? But where is September going, right? We're almost halfway through. So before we know it, it will be 2025. It would be wonderful, wouldn't it, to be able to, whenever the 1st of January comes, 2025, that we say, I've got this. And we go either to our real shelf or our digital shelf, and we pick that plan up off the shelf, and we open up page 1 and we say, let's go. So from me to you guys today, thank you so much for being with me while we dig in initially into this X challenge. I'm really looking forward to it. Keep an eye out in all the different areas. You will be told about it. It'll be some very, very simple form to fill out, usual, your name, reference, things like that, as well as the code, right, the special code. And then we'll be able to take this on to the next level with a lot of the information that you've already got at hand, okay, and add to it, right, and see what we need to do inside the business as a whole, right, the things that are business elements, like our expenses, right, and also then what we've got to do on an individual product level, right, because there is elements inside the business in terms of sometimes we look at a tree as a tree, okay? Things like expenses, okay? They are business wide. But then there are other pieces, right? There are other pieces of the business which are more like the branches of the tree that make up the tree, right? They're still part of the tree overall, but they're making up the tree and they're independent in a way. The same thing goes for our business. That's like our products. The branches of the tree are like our products, okay? We got to make sure that each individual branch is healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? Because then whenever we combine those things together, there is not something dragging our tree down or dragging our GP down, okay? So we've got to then focus on each individual branch or each individual product and work out what's going on there and run exactly the same figures. What's the revenue of that product? What's the COGS, right? What's the GP? What's the internal expenses? So we get an awful lot of the same thing, but we're rolling it in the right way. So guys, thank you as always. Thank you for joining in today. Thank you for being really super duper engaged inside the chat box. And I will be speaking with you very, very soon. But of course, I guess we'll have to make sure that we end with a little bit of a tune. It's the usual tune that we end with. Thankfully, well, I might tackle this one. I think this is one that I reckon I could tackle at some stage. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, Mr. Thomas.
But for me, guys, today, that's me. Over and out. See you.
I'll leave this on
X challenge.